So today, we are going to talk about the embryonic development. So first off, let us know what is meant by this word. So embryonic development or the embryogenesis is the process by which an embryo is forms and develop. So in mammals like us, it is chiefly referred to as the prenatal or the fetal development. So the embryonic process or the embryonic development starts with the fertilization of an egg cell or the ovum by the sperm cell or the spermatozoon. After fertilization, a zygote, a single diploid cell, will be formed. The fertilized egg, which is the zygote, will divide by mitosis in half, making two different cells. And each of the cells here will contain full sets of chromosomes because the DNA copies itself before it divides. And then here, the cell divides again by mitosis. We got 4 cells, 16 cells, 32 cells, and so on. And at this point, these cells is referred to as the stem cells. So stem cells has the ability to become any kind of cells in the body for a developing organism. So kapag meron na tayong stem cells, magkakaroon ng cellular differentiation. So the cellular differentiation is the process by which the cell changes to a more specialized cell. From a zygote to a more complex, specialized tissues and cells.
Pictures shows the ectoderm and the endoderm. The ectoderm is the color pink at the outside, and the endoderm is the color blue in the inside. So the ectoderm is the most exterior of the 3 primary germ layers. It is formed in the very early embryo, and it gives rise to hair, to skin, to the nail and epithelia. The inner group of cells is called the endoderm, the blue part. It forms the lining of the gut and other internal organs. They become the linings of the digestive cavity, stomach, intestine, and the respiratory tract, the lungs, and the airways. So cells at these points start to differentiate. They are getting different signals depending in where they are in the embryo. So the different genes turn on or turn off. Different proteins are produced to make these cells become different. Stage is to develop stomach cavity. This is a process called the gastrulation. The inner layer, the endoderm, that surrounding the gut has to develop an opening into that layer. So this shows that opening which we call a blastosphere. So yung butas sa may red na yan, it is the opening we call a blastosphere. It is the first opening into the embryo. The next step is to develop a third tissue layer that is known as the mesoderm. Eventually, the mesoderm tissues become the bones, the blood, the muscles of the organism. There's a layer that it is in contact with the ectoderm and a layer that is on the inside of the endoderm with a space between the two called a coelom. A coelom is a body cavity, and the value of having that body cavity is it allows space to put a complex organs like heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, brains. All of those organs can go in that body cavity. Once you have the 3 tissue layers formed, the next stage is called the neurulation, and that is where the development of nerve cord begins. This shows the inside of embryo, a streak of tissue called the neural streak, which begins the formation of the neural tube. A hollow tube, it's on the dorsal surface in vertebrates. Like insects, some of the invertebrates have a nerve cord on the ventral surface along the belly, but all the vertebrates have a dorsal nerve cord along the back that is eventually going to become the spinal cord and the brain. Segmentation is where different genes activates to divide the body into different segments. But not all animal phyla is segmented, but many are. The evolutionary advantage of segmentation is that regions of the body can specialize for different functions. So you can have a head specialized for eating and sensing, chest or thorax for pump. As segmentation proceeds, some of the segments can specialize. You can now see some limb here forming and eventually develop a whole embryo that looks more familiar. And this stage is called organogenesis, where all of the major organs are forming until a full embryo starts to look more and more animal-like until eventually they will come out as a screaming baby.